your actions, which are very contradictory right now. You know, you tell me not to call you, tell me, you know, you're looking into it, then you tell me don't call you, and then you're having conversations with the dealer, and the dealer will come back and say, well, you know, we offered him to, you know, to rescind the offer, and we offered to do this, and we gave him 3 options. That is factual. Yes, they did. They did give me 3 options. They did offer to rescind the offer, and I bring the car back to them, and which kind of like really struck a nerve that he would even have the damn audacity to say this to me. But he says, so I'm like, so how does that work? Well, you just bring the car back to me, and we'll you know, like nothing ever happened. We'll give you your car back, and you know, we'll take our car back, and we'll cheer up the contract, and boom, bang, bing, you know, nothing ever happened. With no consequence. So you can literally get caught in a fraud transaction, because that's what it is. You misrepresented this car. I mean, there's so many different state and federal violations with this fucking car that I got. It makes no sense. But yet, you're still out selling cars to customers under the Volvo Cpo program. So my point is, if I know I'm not the only one, right? I'm going through their reviews, and I ran across during my research an FTC investigation or claim against them. So they sued Ford and Jim Coon's management, or some shit like Jim Coon Cars management, and another like dealership from the Midwest, I think. Basically, they sued them for not updating the cars that they sell to the consumers with outstanding safety issues not resolved. Like, why would you do it? Well, the reason why is because you get to cut corners. You don't have to spend the labor hours to do it. And we all know this industry is one of the most corrupt industries in the world. Matter of fact, Maryland is number 2 in fraud cases, right? Or fraud complaints, number 2. And yet MVA Safety Division won't do anything about it. Although one officer told me that, you know, that he drove by and spoke to them about the CPO checklist, but none of the other issues, the tires, the broken seat, the overspray that's on my windshield. It makes it hard to see at night because these bright ass lights on these. So the MVA Safety Division, who regulates the dealerships or the inspection stations, there's just so many questions, unanswered questions that we must get to in this story. Like, how are you not being held accountable for this? And furthermore, just because you offer me 3 choices, you're mad because I didn't pick the choice that was easiest for you or that was most budget friendly for you, right? I did not force you to sell this car to me in this condition. I didn't make you do it. This was something that you decided to do, and you thought you could get away with it. Because apparently in Maryland, the Attorney General, MVA, which regulates the dealerships or a part of their business, has done absolutely nothing. Who is asking the question of how is it acceptable for Volvo to sell to sell a customer a warranty that you claim that he can use if something was to go wrong, but why wouldn't the manufacturer want to make sure that they're not being held accountable for items not fixed on customers' cars? So that really struck a nerve with me. I really couldn't figure that out. I was like, what sense does that make? You would think to cover your cost that you want to make sure that dealers are actually inspecting these cars, because otherwise, then all the customer is going to do is rely on the manufacturer warranty that comes with the certification, regardless if the car was certified and truly certified or not. And that's just going to eat at the profit of Volvo here. So the fact that they're defending them needs to be asked. Why would you defend an organ? The question that we don't necessarily need to ask them, but I guess you just need to ask out loud. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Why would you defend an organization who basically has put you under a bad light with one of your new customers. I would think a demographic such as me, there's not a lot of black people that drive Volvos. So it's a way for me to drive my car around my black friends and my black family and then take a look at this commodity and say, I never look at that brand like that. It's a very nice car. I might have to look at them. Right. Because who is in your commercials is who you're marketing to. That is how marketing has always worked. Always. If you see a black person in a commercial, then you can guarantee that that product is also made for black and white people. Right? But when you see multiple commercials, like for instance, Sandalwood Resorts, all of the Caucasians in that commercial are visitors. They're people that have come to spend their money at the resort. But all the black people there are servers. Now, to be fair, that is a true that is facts. That is what goes on at those resorts. They hire the people on the island that is from there to work. And that's how they make the agreement with the state governments. But are there the problem with that commercial or with Sandals? That's the name of the Sandals resorts is with all the Caucasians that are in your commercials. There's not one black couple that I can recall seeing out of like 4 of their commercials. Jamaica, Montego Bay. My point is that the reason that there aren't any, or there's not a equal mix of black and white couples that are there, and even when there is a black person included in the commercial, if you think I'm lying, start paying attention. They're always mixed with someone of the white race, right? It's never a solid black family with a black kid, or the black son and daughter and the black mother and father. It's always a black woman with a white man, or a white man with a black woman. So we're gonna throw some black in there, but we want to pair them with a white person because then it's done for a reason. My point is that when I look at Volvo's corporate office, when I look at the executive office, when I look at the board, I don't see not one black person installed on there. Not one. So my point is that this car is not really marketed for or to us, which it kind of makes me feel like that's the reason why I'm getting the response that I'm getting. I definitely know that if my name was Chet and I was purchasing this used Cpo car for my wife Beverly, or my teenage daughter who just finished college, and we and my family, Chet's family, discovered the very same items I'm complaining about, do you think it would take Chet this long? Do you think Chet would still have this car in March when he purchased it and notified the dealership and the manufacturer 4 days later of all of the issues that I spoke of? I don't think so. If there is a law on the books that says that dealerships and lenders can charge black people higher interest rates simply because of a characteristic that I cannot control. I did not want to be gay in this world, and I did not choose or wish to be black. But here we are. 2 things I have no control over, but I'm judged the most on. So if you have laws that says that we can charge you more money because, to the lender, you run a risk. Why do I run a risk? Because I was brought to a country with no history whatsoever, with no family, but as property. And then my history was completely torn, ripped apart from us. I can go to what are those sites where you can do your background? Nothing pops up because it was never recorded. Why do I need to record that the African with the big titties that is going to be used in the kitchen as a cook, that she had a baby about one of these white men on a horse carrying a whip, and after he raped her, she got pregnant and she had a baby, but we just consider that property like a cow, having a calf or a heifer. Property equals property. More money for us. Cha-ching, yay. But our history, our family, where we come from, who are we? We had to reestablish that. Or you guys came over on ships and boats with, maybe $10 in your pocket, but nobody was forcing you to work. he was able to immediately get on board with starting businesses and starting generational wealth. Well, lenders see us as risk because we don't have that generational wealth. So there's a law on the books that says that they can charge us more in interest because they need an extra guarantee that they're going to get all their money back. So to get that extra guarantee, they get it each month included in your interest rate. Fucked up, ain't it? But there's no such thing as white privilege. I'm gonna go eat my my breakfast because this is just part one. Sorry, part two shall be a little bit more interesting. It gives you a understanding of how corrupt this industry really is. What not to expect when you see all of the great researched and chosen and have gone through like trials to see how the consumer responds to the words, the letters, the color. Rigorous inspection. Just somebody's gonna have to answer for that. I just don't get it. The reply that I recently got back from MVA Safety Division was that, basically it's like your word against theirs. So there's nothing we can do. I will refer it to the Assistant Attorney General. But as far as Maryland's Vehicle Association Safety Division, we can't call it. Although the first officer that I spoke with, his name was Seeley, I think. No, his name's not Seeley. Anyway. He tells me that he spoke with the dealership, explained to them that on a CPO checklist that the parts that my car did not have included as an option should have been listed as NA versus checked off. But we're talking about like I would say between 9 to 13 different items that were just all overlooked, and I asked it not in a statement, but as a question. All of those 9 issues that are, and it may be more, maybe like 13, 14 items listed on my CPO checklist that are checked off as verified and signed by 3 individuals inside of the service department that processes these CPO inspections. All three people miss the issues that I described. All 3, and the manufacturer doesn't even have a copy of the CPO checklist. Do you see what I'm saying here? There's a problem with this. And then you tell me I have no recourse other than to go through arbitration, which is there to protect the dealership to start with. This system is a fraud. Stay away from it. Stay away from Volvo's CPO program, because I can guarantee you that your car has not been inspected. And if it has, let me not say that all dealerships are like this one, because they're not. But the underlying question, or the lowest common denominator question needs to be, why does the manufacturer not have or receive a copy of the CPO checklist? Shouldn't you? Shouldn't they? Furthermore, how is it possible that you can tell me that this car that I purchased, which is supposed to be inspected to give me the assurance that it's not just some standard car that just has a little shiny sticker on it that says CPO inspected, and it's really not? But isn't that what I received? And if that's the case, and then you can confirm that it's the case by the pictures and documentation that I sent in, then why haven't you pushed this manufacturer or this dealership to do anything about their issue? Again, it was a decision that was made to sell this car like it was. They had a choice. We all have choices, right? But they chose to move forward with a fraudulent transaction, and then to submit a document that is supposed to give me the assurance that the inspection was done is incorrect. It doesn't give me any confidence whatsoever. And when I was doing my research into it, I don't understand how normally I would save this because I don't like bringing all of my ammo I don't like to expose all of my details or the things that I have found. It doesn't mean I haven't found anything, but I think what that says about me is I'm smart enough to understand that the manufacturer or the dealership watching this video and then being able to create a defense to my evidence, right? So because I have a second piece of evidence that I just found this morning, I'll share this one. The CPO checklist came to me 3 weeks later, I think, maybe 4, in a PDF format. When I did the research on that PDF format, what was exposed to me was a car that was certified in 2005 that had 13,000 miles on the odometer. When I purchased my car, I had 44,000 miles. So when you put everything into the equation to solve for why, it makes sense. It makes sense why the dealership still cannot give me a hard copy of the checklist, even though at the very bottom it says the white copy goes to the customer. So where's my white copy? We're not talking about a photocopy. Where's the original document that you actually took your pen and checked it off and signed it? Where's that? Because so far I've only been giving a photocopy of it that you can barely read in the PDF format. But thank you for sending it in the PDF format. I appreciate that very much. Very, very much. Next. If it takes a genius to realize what's going on here, the manufacturer cannot provide the CPO checklist because the dealer never sent one to them, and besides that, the manufacturer doesn't request it. The dealer can't provide me a hard copy, the white copy, that even at the bottom of the outdated 2004 CPO checklist from Ford days says that the car was inspected in 2005, has 13,000 miles on it, and the original copy should come to me. And no one can confirm or can tell me why this document has been falsified to represent my car. But again, when you break everything down and look at the items that are circled on it, that are checked off on it that my car does not have. When you look at the fact that the mileage says 13,000, and then there's an invoice that starts with like 467, something like that, I believe. It does not match the invoice that's listed on the front copy of when I opened the attachment. So it's kind of like you can tell that it just draws you closer to a conclusion as to why I'm dealing with a car that was falsely certified, that gained the manufacturer extra revenue, but also the dealership extra revenue. And you're telling me that I have no dog in this fight, that there's nothing you can do with the fact that it's a breach of contract so far due to the tires. It is a fraudulent transaction, and then you forward over a fraudulent transaction pretending that it is for my car. And I will show you an email, because the first question I asked the general service manager when he sent over the CPO checklist was, "Are you sure this is for my car?" Because I spotted it immediately, and I'm going to post the email to that. Something's wrong here, guys. And I truly, truly hope that you can, put a little added pressure on the dealership and the manufacturer, because nothing moves them, if you notice. Not state agencies, not government agencies, but let you get NBC4 investigative unit on the matter, and they stick that microphone in y'all face while you're at work, and they want answers from people who had a direct hand into